AP News, I'm Ed Donahue. The Army says an official at Arlington National Cemetery was pushed aside at the cemetery this week by an official with the Trump campaign. But she declined to press charges. It was all over the use of cameras at a wreath-laying ceremony. Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh at the Pentagon was asked if the Pentagon could refer a violation of federal law to the Justice Department.
That can happen, but that is a decision that the Army would have to make, and that's not... My understanding is that the Army is considering this matter closed.
Federal law prohibits campaign or election-related activities within Army National Military cemeteries. The United Nations World Health Organization says there'll be limited pauses in fighting in Gaza. A baby contracted polio, the first case in 25 years in Gaza. The WHO's Rick Pieperkorn says kids need to get polio shots in Gaza.
We start the 1st of September, and we start in central Gaza for 3 days, followed by South Gaza, and then followed by the north of Gaza.
Pieperkorn says they aim to vaccinate 640,000 children under 10, and the campaign has been coordinated with Israeli authorities. Stocks finished mixed with the Dow up 243 points. Campaigning in Michigan, former President Donald Trump is focusing on the economy.
Kamala's made middle-class life unaffordable and unlivable. And I'm going to make America affordable again, in addition to making it great again.
In Savannah, Georgia, Vice President Kamala Harris talked about a small business tax credit.
It's basically a tax credit for startups, for small businesses. We're starting out. Yes. Half of America's working population either owns, runs, or works in a small business.
In a sit-down interview with CNN, Harris said her values have not changed since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. Ukraine says one of its Western-donated F-16 warplanes has crashed. This is AP News. A Justice Department watchdog says the FBI failed to comply with mandatory reporting rules in nearly half the sexual abuse cases it handled involving children. Here's the AP's Jackie Quinn.
An inspector general's inquiry has been released, saying there's no evidence to show the FBI had complied with mandatory reporting requirements in nearly 50% of the cases it reviewed. Another violation was the timeliness of sharing information. Only 43% of the cases showed that the information was provided in the 24-hour period required. This comes even after improvements were ordered because of the handling of the case against former USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. A senior FBI official admits the Bureau's made mistakes, but says the vast majority of its work has been handled appropriately. I'm Jackie Quinn.
And I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
Good morning, Marianas! Good morning! It's Friday! You made it! You survived the week! Yeah, you got one more day, but you can handle that. Good morning, Marianas. It is Friday, and we are happy to be here. It is August 30th. We are on the cusp of a super long, awesome weekend that you guys deserved. It's Labor Day weekend, baby. That's what we got. No work on Monday. Yow! All right, some of us do have to work on Monday, but most of us don't. That's pretty good. Hey, good morning to see all you guys this morning. Luisa, good to see you. Eric, Peeling, good to see you. I got to scroll up a little bit more because you guys were all popping in there this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're watching on any of our channels, whether it's on Island Image in Motion or Good Morning Marianas' page, or right here on the NMI News Service. Want to wish you a good morning and say thanks for watching. Also, to our viewers over there on YouTube, the future of the show on YouTube. That's right, it's growing over there, and we need more of that. So if you haven't already subscribed over to our YouTube channel, please do. It's NMI News 670. If you just search the page, you're going to find us for sure. Anyway, great to see you guys. We got the weather looks fantastic. It is the Islander Labor Day softball tournament that's happening. It kicked off last night. It's going to be going on today. It's going to go on tomorrow. It's going to wrap up on Sunday. It's certainly going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of friendly faces that we don't get to see all the time. They're here from Rhoda and from Tinian out here just to play. I know there's a lot of folks out in the mainland who do this every year too. I think it's Vegas is where everybody's at now. I know they were in Washington. I think they're going to Vegas. Maybe it's Oregon. I know it's somewhere out there. But we are still here. And it's cool because folks coming all over to Saipan to be in this tournament. Not just this tournament. There's a whole lot of things going on. Especially in the government, there's going to be a big Labor Day celebration. That's always a lot of fun for everybody. And if you're not living here, you used to live here, then you know what it's like. And if you've never been out here, well, then you are missing out. And you got to get yourself a trip back here. Oh, that's right. It is. It's Friday. It's maybe the worst song of all time, they say. But I don't know. This girl paid a lot of money to get this commercial made. And you know what ended up happening? It made her super famous, at least for a while. At first for the wrong reasons. I remember there were a million bad comments. But anyway, here we are 12 years later, Rebecca Black's Friday. Over 171 million views and almost 900,000 comments on her. And I think at one point she disabled them. Oh no, she left them open. Get out. So the song became almost cooler because it was so bad. And if you didn't get caught up in all of it, you need to look it up. Rebecca Black Friday. It came out like 12 years ago. And it was so funny. And it was so bad. People made memes. They made their own versions of the song that were great. And, she was mortified, right? Because she ended up paying, her parents ended up paying some producer to make some big hit song. And she thought it was a flop. Turns out, though, he came through. Not the way they expected it to go through. But... yeah, anyway, it's Rebecca Black Friday. It's not the shopping Black Friday. It's Rebecca Black. The song is Friday. Okay, fine. I'll put it in the comments if you haven't seen it before because you deserve it. You deserve to watch this. You need this in your life. And then, it was really cool. Katy Perry came to her rescue, kind of. They ended up making a song called Last Friday Night or something, and it was all about the next day on Saturday and how they bounced back from it. Anyway, thought it was pretty neat. We don't have to go down that road. I like the chicken songs better, by the way. My wife, not as much of a fan. She does think it's kind of funny because it's so stupid. And you got it. That's exactly what it is. It's supposed to be stupid. Why? I'm like, because nobody does it. Nobody's rocking chicken songs during their shows. Nobody. We got to hear. It is one thing that we've got all day that nobody else has. All right. Well, we do have a beautiful day out here. We might as well tell you all about it because it's going to be a great weekend. Right now, it's 84 degrees. We're looking at partly cloudy skies throughout the day. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, too. Oh, no. We are going to have partly sunny skies. High near 87. Going to be pretty windy coming out of the east. Hopefully, that'll brush all that other stuff by. Gusts as high as 18 miles per hour and a 30% chance of rain, which means, it's going to rain. So, the roads, they're wet in some spots out there right now, but it's not that bad. How about tonight? Because those guys are going to be playing softball pretty late tonight, too. Well, scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low around 78. East winds 6 to 13 miles per hour with a 30% chance of rain as well. How about the rest of the weekend? Well, we got that, too. Thanks to the National Weather Service, we know that there are going to be some scattered showers and thunderstorms expected over the weekend. Partly sunny. It's going to be a high near 87. The winds are going to die down a little bit, though, tomorrow, and a 30% chance of rain. So it might be a little sloppy for that tournament. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully, it's not too bad, and hopefully it doesn't mess up the field too much. And hopefully those lights work just fine so that we can get the playoffs started on September 3rd, because that's when the Saipan Baseball League is scheduled to get back underway. It's going to be the Bandits and Sandlot. And that's how we're going to find out who advances, who gets the final slot into the next round of the playoffs. And there's a lot of people who want to get playing, and I'm one of those people. I want to be able to cover the games. I don't need to actually get out there. But we are going to get out there for the Masters League, and we're really excited about that. That's not coming up, though, for a little bit. We're not doing that too soon. But that is coming up maybe mid-October, so get ready for it. Hey, other things happening this week. Confitma is happening. What's Confitma? Oh, that's when all of the first responders from all sorts of different agencies work together with different parts of the government to put on a disaster preparedness drill. And it's not just a drill, it's an exercise. And this time they're going to be using PSS, not just for volunteers, but they're going to use the actual campuses. So the folks out there in Cagman are going to have things get a little bit excited. That's right. It's going to be Cagman High School, Cha-Cha Ocean View Junior High, Cagman Elementary, and the Cagman Head Start and Early Head Start Center. This year, it's going to be on Tuesday, and it's going to start at 9:30. The planning has been going on for a long time. But what they're going to do is test how they can communicate when things happen. And you're going to plan for a active shooter scenario that's going on. They're going to try out some new systems that they have out there. And again, they want to see if their whole plan that they have devised for addressing these kind of emergencies and situations, they want to see if it actually works. So that's it. That's what they're going to be doing. That's going to be on Tuesday. So if you think you see a lot of police cars and ambulances and first responder vehicles and guys in all kinds of tactical gear in Cagman, well, yeah, don't worry. It's just an exercise. It is not the real deal. They're going to train like it's the real deal. But again, it's just an exercise. It's next Tuesday. So be prepared for that if you're out there in Cagman. And it's going to be 9:30, so it's after the rush hour is done. You don't have to worry about that holding you up on the way to work. So don't get all weirded out if you see a big police presence in Cagman next Tuesday. We're going to remind you about it next Tuesday. Don't worry about that, too. Let's see if this is the message I've been waiting for. This is the message I've been waiting for. All right, we're going to make a call. Oh, my gosh. Okay. We're going to do something that we haven't done for a while. We're going to do a joint call with Ray Gibson's morning show. They are waiting for us to call, and we're going to do it right now. We're going to call them on our line. They are interested in what we've got going on. So 1671. All right, let's fire away. Give them a ring.
Hey, Brad. How you doing, man?
All right. Hey, we got you on, too.
Oh, sweet, dude. Thanks, man.
Who gets to do that?
Morning, Saipan.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I'll tell you what. This is the coolest thing because you only see these kind of mashups like Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick show when they call each other or something like that.
Yeah.
So imagine
it's
that.
It's a collab, man.
Only
it's
all
an
the
inter-island collab.
Hungan.
Hold on, brother. Let's get you on the air. Hold on.
You got it.
Is when you can anticipate that bit of unpleasantness. 7:13 in the morning. Real Joe's on the phone. Saipan's on the phone.
And that's about
Brad Rosala. That's my bro from the surf side. That's the name of the hotel, right? Surfside Surf Resort.
Well, you're getting closer. I'll give you. It's the Surf Rider Resort. Surf Rider Resort and Hotel.
Wait a second. Hold on. I gotta get some pictures up on the screen of the potential customers riding the surf over at the. I'm using the old ones that I made last hour. I'm addicted to artificially intelligence generated women, and so I asked it to make me a picture of tomorrow women in a silk Scooby-Doo outfit. Holding a potato dolphin, which is one of Tattoo Shauna's kind of imaginary sea creatures. At any rate, so that's up on the screen right now, and they would fit in. These I think would fit in perfectly in the rooms over at the Surf Rider Hotel on Beach Road in Saipan.
Yeah, and you know what? If that doesn't tell you right now that you need to get down here again, that's how long it's been. You can't even remember the name of the place.
Dude, I know. So there's hope, and that's the reason why I'm reaching out to you today is because there is hope that maybe something is going to be happening to be able to get me up to Saipan. Obviously, I'm not going to be flying up in some kind of jet, but it looks like the star is going to be rising over the Northern Mariana Islands and Guam in the next little bit, and I might be able to get up there and see you guys on a more regular basis.
Hey, that is the hope and the dream. But Star Marianas is going to stay here, and that's great. They were saying that they filed a notice to terminate scheduled service between the islands,
right?
And it's all based on that rate methodology that they have. Basically, they gave me a really good analogy for this. Because they don't need all of the services that the airport has, or they don't need all the services that an international jet would require, right? Because they've got little lightweight planes and everything. When they touch down on the runway, it doesn't even damage the runway because they're less than 6,000 pounds, unless you ate a lot of chicken and tinian at that time. But still, it's still but there's no damage. So what they were saying is like, you are going to a buffet restaurant. You're only asking to get like an a la carte meal. You know, you're not that hungry, but you end up having to pay for the whole restaurant.
Yeah. Give me the kids' portions.
Yeah.
Let me order a kid-sized meal. That's all I'm hungry for right now. And maybe down the road if things work out. So what is there a decision that needs to be made with the airport facility? Is that something that the governor can ponder over and create some kind of executive device that allows Star Marianas to continue to fly between Guam and the NMI?
Well, so the thing is that the CPA is a semi-autonomous government agency, and so they kind of have their own, they can do it on their own, but all of those board members are appointed by the governor. Now, some of them are just recently appointed by the current governor. Some of them are holdovers from the previous administration. So you don't have everybody that's on the same page yet. But now that they've been working together for a couple of years, it's like, come on, we're all here at the same table. Let's just get something happening. So when they weren't getting what they wanted, by that I mean Star Marianas, when they weren't getting their point across, they kept bringing it to the board. And the board did entertain them, but they didn't, I don't think, go through all of the points that they were talking about. And there's some really good businessmen on that board. They know their stuff and everything, but it's maybe not the area of expertise for the FAA guidelines and everything, where like that's what these guys do. They fly, they know all those regs, right? Mm-hmm. So they ended up going to the governor, and in fact, even the board chair said that he was going to go to the governor and ask Joe Zuzu. He was going to ask the governor to get involved and help out with this and see if there's something that they can do. So they write a letter to they being Star Marianas, write a letter to the governor and everybody saying, well, hey, if we can't figure this out, we're going to have to discontinue our services. And then the governor's like, all right, let's get in here and let's talk. So they do have something going on. The governor understands it. I think what I believe, based on the letter that we got from Star as well and the press release, was that they know that the governor is going to have a good conversation with the folks at CPA with their legal counsel as well, because they have a firm understanding of what all these rules and regulations are as they pertain to the airlines and the requirements of a commuter airline, and they're going to make some adjustments based on that. Now, there's nothing that came from the CPA that confirmed that that's what their plan of action is, but there's going to be some action on this because they don't want to lose the only inter-island and locally based inter-island transportation that we have.
All right. Brad Rosala from the village of Saipan checking in this morning and for a couple of things. I hope that they are able to get that resolved sometime very, very soon, because I still have not stayed at the Surf Rider and enjoyed the, $149 deal where I get the accommodations, rent a car, and a nice breakfast.
Oh, no. It is $149.99. You get the nice accommodations, you get to rent a car, and you get breakfast for two. So you bring a date, or you can meet a great.
Eat twice.
Yes, you can eat twice. Or yes, there you go. I like it.
All right. So there's that, and to the degree that it's okay to talk about, another property up there that has been in mothballs for a little bit. My understanding, there's a story that was popped up the other day from, I think, the Marianas Variety, about how there seems to be an interest now in the building that was the old Hyatt Hotel. What do you know about that?
All right, so now this is interesting, and it's not been mothballed for very long. In fact, I think they're still taking some of the mothballs out of the box. So it's a really positive development that there are a couple of folks who are interested in this. And I reached out to the former GM of the property, but who's still involved with the ownership group and the property. And there's nothing to get completely excited about yet that's official, but there have been talks going on for the last couple of months. So right now, with this group that is interested in getting the lease, the problem is that our land issues for public land are a little different than what you've got in Guam. So this falls under public land, and public land means, well, they can't buy the land. So what they have now is a 40-year lease extension that went on top of their first 40-year lease extension, or their original 40-year lease. So one of the provisions in this lease agreement is that you cannot transfer the lease to somebody else within the first 5 years. So in the first 5 years or the last 5 years, you can't do it. So they're going to public lands because nobody wants to see this sit. And because it's been completely shut down, there is a provision that if the property becomes abandoned for 90 days, then all of a sudden DPL can cancel that lease and put out a new bid for it. The thing is here, is it wise to start over and introduce all kinds of delays, or is it, if you got somebody on the hook right now, why would you wait?
Pick up where they left off.
Right. And if this is somebody who's already approved by the owner, if you will, of the property, that's somebody who's been involved with our community for 40 years. They would know who is probably a responsible steward for the community and pretty well vetted. Our local Department of Public Lands is going to have to vet them as well and go through that whole process. But really, if we've got someone who is qualified and they've demonstrated their ability to do this ownership, then I think it should be a no-brainer. It should be a real easy transfer. But
you know how things can get up there. People can wrap their ankles their axles around all these problems from time to time and just absolutely make it crazy for the most nonsensical, matopping reasons.
I would say yes to that, but I think that we have such a recent demonstration of that failure, and that is with the Marianas Resort and what happened up there and how they bungled that lease with IPI, which thank goodness they didn't do it. But when they were not giving preferential treatment to the current owner or the property owner and operator, Can Pacific. And after a 40-year relationship with them, kicked them to the curb for this company that had too much influence over here. And then they totally lost it. So now we've got an overgrown golf course, and we no longer have a public pool, and we have a decaying property up north.
It's okay. Neither do we. Neither do we, Brad. Got the one little one up in Tirow, but it's been 1,675 days since they temporarily closed the Agana swimming pool.
Not that anyone's keeping track.
99% done, I think, from the last time I talked to Angel. So you're not the only ones in the Pacific. I don't know where our kids are learning to swim and compete in off-island adventures and things like that. A little bit of in just a second now. Is there another one of these conversations about what to do with the recreational part of Managaha Island?
Ooh, so that is still going on. So again, this is a public lands issue because it is public lands. And what has happened, there is a master concessionaire who puts in a bid. And in this case, the winning bid was from a company called Marianas Global. And their contract was to basically maintain and provide services for Managaha. And they would pay the CNMI $800,000 a month, which sounds like a pretty good deal. I went in on that. They're saying that they have not been able to recoup that investment, and they have not been making those payments because of that. So they have sought to change the rules of just operating business in the CNMI at all, so that the individual people who have boats and would transfer people back and forth to Managaha, they wouldn't want to change anything about that, but they want to put in a provision that if they are going to be able to bring people to Managaha, they are not able to take them on the banana boats or parasailing in between. And that is caused this massive uproar. Just all of the operators in Saipan, according to the legal counsel, who's representing.
Extra dough. That's their. I mean, there's the margin.
Well, no, so that's a good point. But the thing is, they're not doing business on Managaha. They're not recruiting people on the beaches there. They're doing all that from Saipan. So they're not poaching customers, if you will, on Managaha. So they do have the master concessionaire ability there. The other one is that same company, Marianas Global, was going to say, hey, you can't swim in our swimming area if you don't have one of our life jackets. You can't bring your own. So if it's like, so it caused a big deal. Now, if they're able somehow, this is according to, we sat down with their legal counsel for all the shop owners and for the water sports companies. And they said they're going to have to shut down because that's how they make their money. And that would impact the actual folks on Saipan, not just the business that's happening on Managaha. So these other companies don't have another option. So there's a lot going on with public lands these days.
Tricky. I'm glad that we got somebody we can pick up the phone and call and just say what's up. In the off chance that we get everything straightened out at the airport with Star Marianas, and I do get up there real soon. Is there still any place to eat? What's the big deal? Where's everybody shooting for? Where's the cool bars up in Garapan that we're going to be hanging out at? What's fun?
All right. So first of all, here's what you absolutely have to do. You got to get. You want to be here for a weekend, but if you can get here for Thursdays, because we just started the Thursday night street market again in Garapan, and last night it was slammed. I mean, there's just wall-to-wall people. The night before, I was in Garapan because we had the ship was here. It's over there now. Oh my gosh, where did my brain go? The Mobile. It's over there in Guam now, but it was here. We had them out at VFW, and we had them out at Godfather's. And it was just jam-packed with tourists. Like, where did this happen? I think they all came from Guam and decided to come to Saipan for this week. So anyway,
could be some of that. Hey, listen, I got to let you run here, Brad. It's always a pleasure talking with you. Hope we get to see each other real soon and run slow up and down Beach Road.
Hey, Ray, real fast. I know you got to go. One of the listeners saying to shout out. Could you shout out my father, Ramon Castro? He's at GMH, who's currently being treated and fighting.
Yes, we will, and we'll send prayers out in that direction.
All right, that's from Tobak Castro. Hey, thanks, Ray. You guys have a great day.
You too, buddy. 888-8255-88.
All right, so how about that? We got one of those we're on their show, they're on our show kind of mornings. That's Ray Gibson. He's on The Point in Guam. It's they have a real legit talk radio there. We don't really have that here. This is kind of our talk radio, even though we're not radio. But it was great to have them on here for sure. I love that guy. I've known him for years. In fact, I'll put their The Point Guam. I'll put a link to their page too. So if you haven't checked them out, well, first of all, only check them out after we're off the show. I know that's terrible. I'm kidding. But go ahead and check this out. I got to meet Ray through when I was working with when I was still with IT&E. What happened was one of the guys from the Saipan Tribune was doing news clips for the guys in Guam through Sorensen Media, which is not a thing anymore. And when he was leaving Island, they offered it to me to do those news clips. So I would have to go to Sorensen radio stations here, package like a 90-second package of all the top stories, record it, and then send it down to Guam. And he worked there. So whenever I would go to Guam for business, they're like, hey, stop over. So it would be either him or Patty Arroyo, who's now, again, they don't have Sorensen anymore. So she's on the wave. But I would see them, they're in the same studio, just one would come on before the other. And I got to know them. And over the years, whenever I would go to Guam, I would be on there too. And just to visit them, give them a Saipan update, and then I go about doing my regular work. And boy, that started like 17 years ago, and we've still been friends ever since, and we still do this kind of stuff. And if you remember the Julian Assange stuff, that was the guy, that was the radio host from Guam that I was talking to as that stuff was happening. So really cool. There's a cool video that we put together that's got that whole conversation between our camera, the live stream that we had, the live stream they had, and then the B-roll camera that we also shot during that stuff. Really kind of neat to watch that whole thing unfold. But, you know, I still go back, when I go back to Guam, I'll message them and say, hey, I'm in town. Hey, you want to come in? Sure. And I'll come in there. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. And that's just relationships that span over time. That's one of the cool things about being out here in the Marianas. Also, man, I'll tell you what, he is an avid runner, just a great runner too. So he comes here a bit to do the races that we've got. And then, you know, I'd see him too when we would go down there to participate in the races in Guam, albeit I'd be a lot slower than him, but it's still great to see all that stuff. Anyway, wow. Well, we blew through that first half hour pretty quick. All right. Well, we still have all our headlines that we're going to get to besides those updates on Confitma. And we got so much stuff that we're going to get to. Let's do this. We're going to take a real quick break to recover after that. That was, excuse me, that was awesome. And we've got more for you. First of all, speaking of having more for you, more reps, more equipment, more supplements, more smiling faces, and they just need more of you. It's Laddie Bill 24-Hour Fitness. They're right down the street over here on Beach Road in Chalakanoa. They're right in front of the Aquarius Beach Tower. It's the newest workout facility in the CNMI, and it is great, especially all you guys that are here from Rhoda and Tinian. Got to go down there and check it out before all the softball gets started or in between games, just to see what you guys are missing out and see if you can't get in and check this stuff out. I'm just laughing at your comment, Tobot. But Laddie Bell 24-Hour Fitness is fantastic. I'm telling you, they've got great supplements, and just being a member of Laddie Bell gets you a discount at PHI pharmacies. That's right. So the supplements you need, if they don't have them at Laddie Bell, chances are they do. But if they don't, now you get yourself a smoking discount over at one of PHI pharmacies' convenient locations all over, including Tinian. But here in Saipan, you got Dandan, Garapan, Cagman, and they're about to open one up in San Antonio. For real? For real. All right, well, here's a little bit. Go check them out. Tell them we sent you. That's the important part, too. Tell them you heard about them from us, and see if you don't get a little extra love.
Persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness the proof. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a Lottie with discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness the proof. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
Carrying gas containers that were loaded onto a white Nissan Frontier. Another vehicle described as a red Toyota. Wait. Hold on. I got to redo that. I got to start over because I put too much time into that to have the volume off the whole time. Here we go. On Friday, August 23rd, a theft incident was reported at the Payless Truck Store in Chalakanoa, Saipan. Preliminary investigation revealed that employees had discovered one of their delivery vans was leaking gas from the bottom. The van was towed to the shop where it was later discovered that the gas tank was punctured. Upon reviewing the company's surveillance system, the company discovered that perpetrators responsible for the vandalism of their delivery truck was done on August 19th at about 9 p.m. Suspects were described carrying gas containers that were loaded onto a white Nissan Frontier. Another vehicle described as a red Toyota Tacoma was also observed making contact with the occupants of the Frontier. DPS seeks the community's assistance in identifying this person. Anyone with information about this incident may call the DPS Criminal Investigations Bureau at 664-9042. They may also call DPS headquarters at 664-9001 or call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 234-7272 if they wish to remain anonymous.
Player number 14,
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. Probably is not great to be down.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications. And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Motion.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it, and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, it's just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you could choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
Welcome back and good morning, Marianas. It is 7:37 here in the morning, and we are just chickening out here. Checking out we're chicking out the road. The traffic over here on Beach Road as people are making their way to school, making their way to work out here. Look at that sunshine. Look at those blue skies. Oh boy, even better, you got traffic going, 2 lanes going north. I know that's only gonna last for so long, till they can get that sucker back open again. But once in a while, you got people going in both lanes here. And they are working on that middle strip. I don't know exactly what's going on with that construction process. I know they're doing it, but I wonder if they're just doing it as a joke. Maybe the planners were just in the Brazilians. I just don't know what's going on, but hey, we're getting closer to getting that stuff finished. We are almost done with it. I mean, at least in this area, you can feel this building shake every time those compactors go through, and we're getting closer. They're going to be paving that middle section, and then after that, it's going to be on to getting the last bit, the top coat, the anti-skid top coat going on out here, and it's going to be great. Well, I know driving out here is a bit of a challenge for sure, but there are good things that we have out here. In fact, you could save a lot of money just by riding public transportation with COTA, the Transit CNMI. And that's here in Saipan, and you're able to get all the way around the Blue Line and the extension, get you from Garapan all the way down around by Tototville, get you around in all the way to the college and back. It's a great thing. But now they're going to start extending service thanks to a grant from the Department of Interior's Office of Insular Affairs, which, by the way, that reminds me of a great conversation that I had about cabinet positions with the President of the United States. Now, it wasn't my conversation with the President, but we were talking about cabinet positions. I think it was the Secretary of Affairs was one of the suggestions that I'm like, I don't think that's what it is. Anyway, so beginning in September, that's like 2 days from now, COTA is going to meet with the mayors of Rota and Tinian to do their on-site assessments, the first ones. Then they're going to start talking about getting people to operate the vehicles and check out what they've got already, and let them see what COTA is going to bring over there. And man, these are these are pretty cool. So apparently, these vehicles were provided about 3 years ago. They're going to go ahead. They're going to repaint them. They're going to make sure they're looking good and ready to go, and then start talking about what they're doing. It's gonna be great. The folks in Tinian and Rota need it. I'll tell you what, Rota probably even more, because getting around in São Paulo is one thing. Getting around in Song Song is another thing. But getting from São Paulo to Song Song and back, that's not a walk. I mean, you could, but not a lot going on for that. So thank goodness that the Commonwealth Office of Transportation Authority has things moving in the right direction. In fact, that's it. That should be their slogan. We get things moving. We get you moving. Hey, Michael, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you this morning, too. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Yes, is the answer to that question that I just received. Yes, it is. Said, are you purposely leaving that? Yes, I am. That is. I'll tell you more about that later. All right. So COTA is doing great stuff, and we're going to get you more info about that. Every time that COTA does new things, we want to make sure that we're able to bring that to you. We already started speaking to their special assistant, Alfreda Camacho Maritita, about that, and we're really excited about the potential to really promote everything that they're doing out there, because it's such a great service to our community. It's helping people get to work that would not normally be able to get to work, or it might cost them, like, even if they do the cheap Korean taxis that you're not supposed to do, like $3 to $5 each way, as opposed to spending $1. How about the students that only have to pay half? I mean, that is the best deal in the CNMI, and now we're going to be able to bring that to Tinian and Rota. That is a really cool thing. Speaking of cool things, there's some divers doing something cool. You would say they did it kind of under the radar, but they did it like sonar levels. They set a new CNMI record. At least they say that it was by going 100 meters. That's 320 feet deep out here in the CNMI. And that's pretty wild for scuba diving out here. According to the operator of Axe Murderer Tours, he said it's the first CNMI deep dive record that they know of, anyway. And they had these folks come out here from Korea. They had some real experienced folks coming out here. This is not like for an average diver. You can't just do that. You got to really go. I can't imagine they were able to spend too much time down there. Let's see if we can't get them to tell us a little bit more about it. But they use some serious equipment for this too, like rebreathers, the kind of stuff that you only see in the movies. If you're a regular person, the people who are like industrial divers, they've got this kind of stuff. But regular weekend warrior diver guys like me, not used to seeing like a rebreather. That's pretty incredible. Anyway, their equipment is incredible. The feet is incredible. The amount of time it takes to get down there, but then the amount of time it takes to get back up, it is a heck of a thing for them to do that, and all the time it takes to get back up, all that equipment. And that is, like, it's outstanding. I can't wait to hear more about it, and love to have them come in here. If we could ever get them out of the water, to have them come in and talk about that, that would be outstanding for us. That's not the only deep things in the news today either, because I know this is me trying to be make it a smooth segue. That really worked out. Well, not everybody is a big fan of going deep. In fact, there's a farmer in Dandan who's not super happy about a quarry operation in Dandan. Now, this is out there, not at Hawaiian Rock, but it's on that road by Hawaiian Rock. In fact, there used to be a quarry there before, and now somebody wants to open that up again. Ooh, geez, what's this message? Hold on, this is from one of you guys. No, thank you. And yeah, we're going to pass on that. All right, thank you, though. So there's a farmer, Edwin Tenorio. He's not happy at all. There's a big zoning sign out there. Hongi Rental and Construction wants to reopen up the quarry that's over there by Sand Street. And I found this street years ago when I was biking all the time up there. And it's one of those side roads when you're going on the far end of the airport, far end of the runway. Like if you're taking the road going to Hawaiian Rock, off to the left. If you're going to Hawaiian Rock, before you get to that intersection where you take the final turn to Hawaiian Rock, there's a little side road that you probably passed by a million times and never noticed it. It's called Sand Street. And it drops all the way down and it gets into, and you see all this old, well, now there's probably not old stuff. They probably got newer stuff there. But all abandoned construction and abandoned quarry stuff down there. And that was, I mean, I found that place like 20 years ago. And it was abandoned like 20 years ago. There were a couple of people living on property, like probably just squatting or something, but that's it. Well, anyway, somebody wants to do something with it. And there's a farmer down there who said, hey, I don't like this idea. My property's pretty close to that. I'm going to have all kinds of dust. He says he's a farmer and raising his pigs and vegetables on his lot. He's like, hey, the CNMI's got like already more than 4 companies already doing this stuff. You know, maybe Saipan's too small for another quarry. So he's going to try to get that blocked through the zoning folks. The folks who are doing it, well, this one's going to be Hong Yi, who's going to try to get that. You know, he's also saying that the mining companies are chipping away land for the indigenous people to live on, not just today, but in the future, and the people, the CNMI and his descendants. You know, that's a good point. But the land's still going to be there. He's just taking up a lot of the, they're just going to use that. Hopefully, they'll get that to the mayor so he can use that for the roads. And if they're going to operate a quarry, maybe if they do that zoning, they got to make that in that contract. That could be the start of the mayor's. Jeez, you guys hear that? Hold on, let's go down to the road and see what happened there. Where's my main? Where's my main? Just gotta take a look. No, crisis averted. There's a bunch of kids, though, hiding in the bus stop now. I don't know what happened, but it sounds like somebody was cruising by a little too fast. And those kids gathered up pretty quick. Somebody just went by slamming on their horn. Anyway, well, now you know. But anyway, this thing for the quarry could be the start of the mayor's request to have double the allotment per quarry agreement, so that he can get more stuff, more coral and more aggregate to take care of the roads, because they're taking care of all the coral roads and secondary roads. I know DPW does a lot of that stuff too, but the mayor's office, that's what they do. They go out there and fix the roads out there. He's got a great crew and they do a great job. I know they do my road, and we need it, but you know, they do it for all the different secondary and tertiary roads. So this could be the start. This could be the start of, well, we'll see what happens if Public Lands gets involved with this one. But they could redraft that bill or that agreement with these new guys to have that. So the zoning board is going to meet with them next week. It's going to be on September 5th at 2 o'clock at the Multipurpose Center. How about that? The zoning board is going to have their hearing at the Multipurpose Center. Now, this, I wouldn't doubt, is partially because of what happened with the marine sports operators. They just did not have enough room in where they had these things before. So they're going to end up having that over there. So it's good to see zoning board being smart about it by opening up to folks who are going to need more space. So well done, zoning board. Let's see if you do the right thing on this one. Jeez. Hold on, guys, the police are down here too. Hold on, wait just 1 second. I'm going to change the camera. I'm going to peek out outside and I'll turn the camera around just to see if I could show you something. All right, well, maybe we got excited over nothing because they were just out there. they were just squawking, but it was a couple of different times in the same location. Yeah, Oh, Tobot, you're right. I hear you. We'll see, though. We'll see if they start making the right decisions. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. We don't know. We don't know, but maybe they will. Hey, speaking of making decisions, you should not have to make a decision whenever you're having some pains in your face. That's right. If you've got a toothache and you've got Medicaid, you shouldn't have to wonder whether or not you can actually go because you don't have enough money for it. Because if you've got Medicaid, then you should use it because you've already got dental coverage. You don't know it, but it's pretty much free. If you've got children up to age 20, just about everything is covered, including cleanings, and there are no out-of-pocket expenses at all. And for adults, if you've got Medicaid, your exams are covered, your x-rays are covered, your office visits, your fillings, and your extractions, they are all covered at Paradise Dental. And it doesn't matter. Any age, you're covered for your fillings, and this is the way to do it. Paradise Dental Spa, they're on Middle Road in Gualarai. You can't miss it. I mean, you must have seen the orange building with the nice sign out front. That was the home of pickleball at one point, too. But that is kind of our official pickleball HQ. But you don't have to get yourself in a pickle if you're going to be getting your teeth fixed or getting that toothache addressed. If you have Medicaid, you're normally used to getting turned away from places because they don't accept it. That is not the case at Paradise Dental Spa. They are looking for you. They want you to come there. They want to be your provider of choice. And all they need is for you to come in. And once you go in, you're not going to go anywhere else. Once you experience that Paradise Dental Spa difference, it's going to be far and away the best dental experience that you've had so far. So go down there if you got Medicaid, you can give them a call, 234-4040, 234-4040. Make an appointment to get your checkup and from the neck up and let them see what they can do for you. Again, if you got Medicaid, it is probably everything's covered. Not everything, but if you're an adult, your exams, your x-rays, your office visits, your fillings, and your extractions are all covered. All of that. Yes. Think about that. Your exams, your x-rays, your office visits, your fillings, your extractions, all that's covered. And if your kids are 20 and under, they've got pretty much everything covered too. No out-of-pocket expenses. And that includes their cleanings too. Give them a call, 234-4040. You can check out their website, paradisedentalspa.com. And get down there and let them check it out. Don't wait for a toothache. Go down to Paradise Dental Spa today. Give them a call. You'll be happy that you did. Your teeth needs a body. That's great. That is great. Dude, I could count on you for a laugh every day, man. I'm telling you. We gotta make this a regular thing, get you up here. It's a shame that we're up here on the third floor and we're just making it difficult for folks. If we end up finding a different location that isn't on the third floor. First, I mean, I like the view. I'll give it that. But the thing I don't like about it is that we don't, like, if somebody was going to come on our show in a wheelchair, we can't even have them in. We would, excuse me, we would move and bring the show remote if that was the case. If that was one of our guests that required something like that, we would do that. And I would be happy to do that. Like, for instance, we went to NM Posse or OVR or anywhere, you name it, if we were going to end up doing that, because we have been reinvesting in ourselves so that we could take this show on the go to make it easy to make it mobile so we could do that. That's what we got in the meantime. Unless all of a sudden they put up an elevator in the building, which would be fantastic. I'd say it's fantastic for all the stuff I got to carry up and down from time to time. But right now, none of that going on. We did our move like the Jeffersons, moving on up, and but we're on the west side in a deluxe apartment in the sky. There's a little difference. There's a little difference. All right, Fish and Wildlife. They had a public meeting about not like the Garapan wildlife. That's different, but that's funny. But anyway, they have a wildlife action plan, and they were asking the community, like, what kind of conservation actions would you like to see in the CNMI? And they started talking about this at American Memorial Park just a couple nights ago. in a public meeting that they had. They had a wildlife biologist and conservation planner, Desha Witala, and she was talking about the need to make a conservation action for a 10-year plan, and how to access the funds to enact it. So not just coming up with a plan, but being able to fund it and being able to execute that plan, which is pretty smart. The current one that we've got right now started in 2015. But by next October, it's going to run out. So they're looking for some input from the community, and they would like to get some of that from you if you have some ideas about that. And you can actually reach out to them. You can check out their website. The plan that they've got that's about to expire is online right now. In fact, I'll give you that link, copy link, kapow. So you can check it out. You might not be into it, you might be, but either way, it's worth checking out because you get to learn a little bit something new about what's going on in your community. Excuse me. Oh no, it says something went wrong. Oh, it says it's not found. Is that really? Come on, that's the link. Oh. Let's find out. Fantastic. Just fantastic. How about if let me find it a little differently here. I'm going to see if I can find another link to their conservation plan here while we are hanging out for a couple of seconds. Fish and Wildlife, Kapow. About the division, about the programs. Conservation planning, maybe? Is that under that? Wildlife Action Plan Survey. Here is the program link for the slideshow. There we go. So here's a different way of going about doing it. Let's try this. I'm going to delete that other comment. So here will take you to their slideshow. So you'll get the full presentation of that. Here, we're just going to delete the other one because it's a dead link. Kapow. There you go. So you can look it up for yourself. It's really kind of cool. We're looking at it right now. What are you looking at, Brad? Oh, here, I'll show you. Here we go. This is it. CNMI Wildlife Action Plan. Here you go. I'm not going to read through every single slide, but there's 18 of them. And they're in that green part right there where it says public input. So get ready for that. Anyway, you could go and check this out for yourself. The link is now in the comments. And you can find out more for yourself about what the plan that's about to expire, actually, next October. Not this one coming up. It's in 2025. Hey, I think that's the Rufous fantail. That's my favorite little bird out here. I'm not really a bird guy, but I like the Rufous fantail. It's a really cool bird. And could it be because one got trapped in my house and I went to, it could be. But I had such a cool interaction. I always think they look cool anyway. And they got that turkey coloring, even with their tails kind of got the same colors and all. Anyway, got caught in my house, just flew in through one of the doors that was open and just couldn't figure out that the window is something you can't fly through. And when I walked over, he saw me coming. Maybe he was still concussed, who knows, from flying into the window or just exhausted. He didn't run away, didn't freak out, put my hand out there. He hopped right in there, and I just walked over to the door, brought him outside, and he took off and flew away. I'm like, that's a smart bird. I like that bird. My buddy Rufus. Reminds me of Mike Libdahl back in the Army days. Had me a dog named Rufus. Bo Bad didn't have but one tooth. I know, that's a deep cut. That's not for everybody's joke. That is a legit song by my buddy back in the Army days. Oh my gosh. Hey, well, we're just about the top of the hour. It's 7:59, and in one more click, we should get the updated headlines from the Associated Press. We still have more stuff that we're going to talk to you about. Our headlines here. We got some interesting things happening in the Marianas, as we always do, especially that softball tournament, the Labor Day softball tournament, the Islander softball tournament. There's the big one that happens in the mainland every year for Labor Day, but the one that happens here is pretty darn exciting too. Just getting everybody down there, the food, the fun. Oh, some beverages are mixed in there too. That's not a bad thing at all if you do it the right way. You don't want to get too crazy. You don't want to go totally ham on that, but it is Yeah, it's a good place to be. And it's happening at Town Cofield. It's not at Capitol Hill. And I don't know why. I thought they were done with the Capitol Hill improvement project. I'm really surprised it's not going to be up at Capitol Hill. I don't know what the reasoning was for it, but I know that that's the deal. But they're over at Town Cofield, which is where we got our gear. So we're definitely going to cover the playoffs for that. So let me scroll back up. Almost lost you. Hey, Josie, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Ooh, Peeling says, DFW, ever recover the missing guns or they lack the knowledge of the missing link? Man, I don't know. I lost that bit of that story. Is this the one in Tinian or is that the one here? I remember there was a whole bunch. I know they recovered all the ones for that one that happened in Tinian. But I think you're talking about the ones when they were doing the inventory and they noticed that there were some that were missing. I think that's it. Well, I'm not sure. Well, either way, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get you guys the latest update from the Associated Press because it's available now. And I don't want to wait, just like that song. What was it? I don't want to wait. No, okay. I won't sing the whole thing, I promise. Here's your latest from the Associated Press.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. New information today about an incident at Arlington National Cemetery Monday morning involving Donald Trump's staff. Sakamagani explains.
Trump was at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Monday and later at Section 60, the burial site for fallen from Afghanistan and Iraq. An Army spokesman says all participants were told of rules banning political activities at Arlington, and when a cemetery employee tried to enforce them, was pushed aside. The spokesman says the employee refused to press charges. The Trump campaign's denied it did anything wrong, and VP nominee J.D. Vance has instead gone after the employee.
Some staff member had a little disagreement with somebody, and the media has turned this into a national news story.
A defense official told the AP yesterday the campaign had been warned about not taking pictures in Section 60. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Trump's campaigning in Michigan and Wisconsin today, while Donna Warder reports Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Tim Walz are sitting down for the first major TV interview of their presidential campaign.
The interview will be conducted by CNN's Dana Bash and will air at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on CNN. It takes place during Harris's two-day bus tour through southeast Georgia, a state the Harris campaign believes it has a chance of winning if it makes inroads on GOP strongholds across the state. I'm Donna Warder.
The Israeli military says it's killed 5 more militants, including a local commander, in an operation in the occupied West Bank. Ukraine's military says one of the handful of F-16 warplanes it's received from the West crashed Monday while fending off a Russian missile and drone barrage. And the UN nuclear watchdog says Iran has further increased its stockpile of uranium enriched to near weapons-grade levels. That's in a confidential International Atomic Energy Agency report. This is AP News. Damian Troisi has the AP Markets report.
Stocks closed with mixed results on Wall Street Thursday after some late-day selling. The S&P 500 was essentially flat after giving up an earlier gain of nearly 1%. The Nasdaq fell 0.2%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 243 points or 0.6%, setting a record high. Nvidia weighed on the market with a drop of 6.4%. Its stellar results for the second quarter failed to meet the lofty expectations of some analysts. The stock's big market value tends to have an outsized impact on the broader market. The Commerce Department upgraded its assessment of U.S. economic growth for the second quarter to 3% from a previous estimate of 2.8%. Damian Troisi, New York.
Fewer Americans filed jobless claims last week, and mortgage rates continue to ease. Freddie Mac puts the average 30-year at 6.35%, the lowest in more than a year. The 15-year dropped to close to 5.5%. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
On Friday, August 23rd, a theft incident was reported at the Payless Truck Store in Chalakanoa, Saipan. Preliminary investigation revealed that employees had discovered one of their delivery vans was leaking gas from the bottom. The van was towed to the shop where it was later discovered that the gas tank was punctured. Upon reviewing the company's surveillance system, the company discovered that perpetrators responsible for the vandalism of their delivery truck was done on August 19th at about 9 p.m. Suspects were described carrying gas containers that were loaded onto a white Nissan Frontier. Another vehicle described as a red Toyota Tacoma was also observed making contact with the occupants of the Frontier. DPS seeks the community's assistance in identifying this person. Anyone with information about this incident may call the DPS Criminal Investigations Bureau at 664-9042. They may also call DPS headquarters at 664-9001 or call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 234-7272 if they wish to remain anonymous.
Player number 14,
It's a great day to be up 3-0. I'll tell you that. Probably is not great to be down.
I'm Brad Rosala, and I'm the owner for Commonwealth Communications.
And I am Jojo Alipuzu. I am the owner of Island Image and Ocean.
And this is our joint venture, Sideline Studios. This whole concept that we have of doing all these live stream productions and covering news and doing live shows and everything, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a great partner like IT&E, someone who can handle the bandwidth and provide it and then get us what we need when we need it and then be a real partner for us for all the events, whether we're doing live sporting events, broadcasts. All of these things happen because of our partnership with IT&E.
With IT&E providing us with the fiber and point-to-point and even the MBRs, it's just a great piece of equipment to use when we're broadcasting our sports, our events, our performances, especially our cultural performances. And it's just great to share our culture here in the Marianas with the world. And IT&E has been there from the get-go.
The thing I like best about working with IT&E is how willing they are to come out and find a solution. Even for Liberation Day, we thought we had a pretty good solution for our live stream setup, and it turns out that we did not have the right setup that we thought we needed. That day, just before the parade, reached out to Paul and said, here's our situation. What do you think? He's like, we're gonna figure this out. While he's sitting there barbecuing, getting ready for the parade to start, he starts burning up the phone lines, calling everybody in IT&E, what can we do, what's the right solution? They left their families to do this stuff and get us the equipment that we needed to broadcast live. That's over and above. That's on a holiday. That's when he was out there spending time with his family.
That's why IT&E is just the best, just really in touch with the people and the community.
I recommend IT&E to everybody. Tell them the options are there, and you can choose whoever you want and then figure out what you think is the best. But when you're ready, when you're tired of having your calls disconnected or not having service, then you reach out to the guys from IT&E.
All right, welcome back, CNMI. It is 8:09. Good morning, Marianas. It is a Friday. You're looking down at traffic on Beach Road here in Oleai. And it doesn't look too bad. It actually is starting to look pretty good. Look, it almost looks normal with the northbound traffic, with 2 sets of vehicles switching lanes and everything going in the same direction. What is happening? Is that progress? Well, that's what it looks like. Speaking of which, progress is happening at public schools. The folks over at MHS know all about that because school starts in just less than an hour today. So be careful out there on the roads. The buses are, so you should be too. And you're going to have to be careful and maybe put on some sunscreen today because it's looking pretty nice. 87 degrees outside and looking at a high near 87. So we're there already. It's going to be a little breezy today, gusts as high as 18 miles per hour. We're looking at some scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day and 30% chance of rain, as our friend Landon Adlet tells us. If they throw a percentage on there, it's pretty much going to rain. Somewhere, somehow, sometime, it's going to rain out here in the Marianas, and we're used to that already. Welcome back, Marianas. It is good to see you guys. I'm having a blast with you guys in the comments, seeing everything you guys are talking about. And yeah, talking about that crime from the stealing gas from Payless. Like, it's starting to get like legit terrible. That's not the first time. There are a whole bunch of different delivery trucks and tourist vans that are they're either cutting a line or drilling a hole, and just, is it that desperate? Those guys, it must be hard to smoke meth, to be addicted to stuff. And are they reselling that? Because nobody wants to go to work that bad, or you got to go steal someone else's gas, right? You're doing that for other stuff. So that is a tough pull when you're living off grid and you're getting into bad stuff. I mean, that's it. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't know that it's just inflation. I don't think your regular guy going to work is the guy who is stealing gas from other people's tanks. At least, I mean, if I make no excuses for this, and I make no excuses for people who are doing this stuff. No, I don't think it's great. But I would say at least they're not doing it out of people's driveways or something. That would be even worse. So maybe they think that, but I don't think that they're even doing it because they're like morally superior. I think that probably because it's less dangerous to get it from some vehicle parked at a business at night as opposed to somebody's driveway when they actually live there. It's a terrible thing, and hopefully we get those bad guys. So as long as DPS keeps giving us the info, we're going to keep putting it out there so that we can get those guys. Is there a video of the White Frontier leaving? We could reach out and ask. We know the guys, right, who are over there. That's the only thing that came with us from DPS was that one image. We don't have anything better than that. Actually... Oh, hey, good morning. Good to see you too. Let me, so I put that photo in there, and there is a wider shot of that photo for that. And you're right, Tobot. You mentioned that there is a sticker on the windshield. And here, let's zoom in on that. Here, I'll put up the share screen. You guys can see it. I'm going to lower it down a little bit. Hold on. Let me go to share again. You can barely see it the way I've got it there now. But let's do this. Let's drop it down a little bit. I don't know what that is, but you're right. There is some kind of a sticker that should be a pretty good identifying bit of that sticker on that windshield on that Frontier. Also, like you said, your powers of observation are spot on, man. You said that there's no window or no rear view mirror on it too, right? And you're looking at it right there. It's not there. You are a detective. A tint detective. What else do you see about it? Just rocking that tank top until the steering wheel is a little worn. I don't know if that's actual blue on the window or if that was just coloring from the light and the angle and all that stuff. Tinted windows, black door handles. And I bet a lot of times the vehicles have different trim levels that will tell you why it's if it's got a painted doorknob or a painted door handle versus not having it. But I think police got a lot to go on with something like this. People are going to be looking for a white Frontier like this. No roof rack. It looks like maybe. Well, if you look at the top, There's none of that weather stripping like on the top of the truck. You see that a lot on pickups where you got those black lines that run down the top of the roof. This one doesn't have it, and it doesn't have that mirror. I wonder if it was recently painted. Or maybe that's part of it. So all kinds of different avenues for them. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like you said, the rain guards on the window. Yeah. So we all become little detectives out here. And Siphon 670 real. I know, for real. But hey, if you end up if you have information that could lead to an arrest of these folks who did this, you could get up to $1,000 from Crime Stoppers, and their number is 234-7272. 234-7272. I mean, if we get these guys who do this kind of stuff, and then if they get arrested, they go to jail, then hopefully that sends a message to these other guys. You don't want to go to jail for stealing gas, right? I mean, you would think. So stop stealing. Stop doing the bad stuff that leads you to that, and also. Hopefully, people don't normalize what they're doing. Yeah, $1,000 is not bad. That's right. I'd take it. If I knew who did it, I would be that guy. You're a snitch. Oh, no. I am an economist. If you're breaking some laws, I'm telling you, it's not helping you by me covering for you. You got to be the good guy at that house. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Be a man, because that's terrible stuff. Anyway, hopefully we find these guys who did go out there and do these things because, man, I'll tell you, it's got to hurt the business. Now, I know Payless is a big company, and they got, you think that big companies can absorb those kind of losses, and sure, do they have insurance? Think about that, though. Imagine if it wasn't just some big company, right? And this definitely impacted their business, too. They had to, first of all, just the cost of the gas alone, right? The fuel. All right. You might say that's not a big deal, Brad. All right. Well, there's more to it. They have to repair it because they had to tow that vehicle to get to the repair shop. So there's a cost for that. Then while they found it, they saw that they had drilled a hole in it. So they got to pay for the repair for that and replace that fuel. And on top of all that other stuff, that is a vehicle they can't use for their day-to-day operations. It is. Now, imagine now if it's an even smaller company that can't handle that. They can't do business. They lose a whole day's worth of business. Their customers are going to have to go somewhere else and do all that. It is not awesome. I know, oh, they're big companies. They can handle it. It's not the same. No, it's not. It's just not cool. It's so messed up that you end up, our economy's tough enough as it is right now, where a lot of businesses just trying to find ways to keep their doors open. And the big companies are not immune to a bad economy. They're affected by it just as much. Look at what happened with the Hyatt, right? And that's just one, right? Those guys from Portopia didn't leave because they didn't feel like being in the hotel business anymore. I mean, this economy is rough. And even if folks who have been here for 40 years can't figure a way to make it, these guys over here down the street and having their supermarket and trying to give us good deals on food and products that we need, they're bringing stuff into the island that we don't grow here. You can't grow. Well, I mean, we do grow some stuff here too, right? But like all those products that they bring in and then they distribute them to other folks, like the hotels, it's all part of that economic engine. A vehicle getting messed with at somebody's company is, it affects everybody everywhere. It really does. So if you see someone doing it, you don't even have to stop them, but you just call the police right there. Do it from hiding from the side or from wherever. Say, hey, get down here. We're seeing this. And that's part of being a responsible member of the community. That's it. That's what you do. Oh, Peeling saying Chinese drug lords accepting gallons of gas in exchange for ice, baby. Maybe that's what they're doing. Flex Seal, the Poxy Bandit. Yeah, they're lucky they didn't explode. I agree. I mean, yeah, it's tough. It says, bro, you'd think the criminals would at least use a regular car with no noticeable features. Yeah, you would think so. Let's see. I'm just catching up with you guys. I know. By the way, speaking of our viewers, I'm watching you guys in the comments. We just recently got one. Louisa sent us a good video. A reminder that it makes sense. You have to tie down your stuff if you're driving around with it. This is some scaffolding going to some construction project somewhere. It did not quite make it. Maybe they were too excited to get to Laddie Built's new facility, but you could see that as they were pulling away, they were leaving plenty behind. Man, hold on. Oof. Look at all that. That's a lot of picking up afterwards. You can see though, it looks like it was tied down. Yeah, that is the final destination now. I can see the strap on there, which sounds pretty funny, but I can see the strap for that one. It is actually in place. Right there, you can see it there. It's right there at the end by the back of the truck. So at least they tried. It just wasn't good enough. Oh man, I imagine that's got to be a big fine. It's got to be something for something like that. That's a tough one. Their strap wasn't strapping. That's right. Their strap stopped strapping. It's not good anymore. All right. Oh, all right. We got to get into some other stuff here. All right. So we could get to the local courts. Not going to spend too much on this, but you know, the CNMI government's going into the whole boost hearings and all that other stuff. And while they started getting into some of it, the legislature, when they were starting to investigate it, they ran into some roadblocks because some people exercised their constitutional right to. It's a plea, the right to remain silent, the Fifth Amendment, the right to prevent yourself from incriminating yourself, the right to avoid self-incrimination. So, who's right, who's wrong? I mean, the boost thing is a whole nother thing. But there were a few people who were convicted of contempt, or charged with contempt, not convicted. They were charged with contempt in the legislature. Then they forwarded that to the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's office brought formal charges against folks for contempt. So one of the folks who was charged he tried to get the case dismissed. He's like, hey, you know, it's the right against self-incrimination. So the judge denied that motion to dismiss and said, hey, no. So we'll see how this stuff goes on. I've read a lot of comments about the boost hearings and were they politically motivated, and there was no problem. Like, no, I don't agree with that. So clearly something stinks with the boost program, right? That's not a new thing. That's not something new that we're just talking about today. Is everyone who's involved in it a bad guy? No, absolutely not. Is everyone who received a boost grant a bad person? No. Are all those businesses who receive boost grants, like, are they questionable now? No. The answer is no to all those things. There are plenty of people who are doing things in the boost program that thought they were doing great stuff. They weren't politically motivated and all that other stuff. Who? Well, I think like the Bank of Saipan, some of the folks from the chamber, some of the folks from the Small Business Development Center. Like, I don't think those people were doing things that they thought were untoward. But I have been going through and watching the hearings again. And to his credit, I'll tell you what, to his credit, former chief of staff for the former governor, Will Castro, former senator for Guam, did not plead the fifth or anything when asked about the boost grants. This is going back a couple of years now, right? He sat there and rolled with the punches. He answered all the questions, whether you like the answers or not. He was there, no legal counsel. He did receive some legal advice during those hearings to say that he wouldn't talk about specific awardees. And that seems pretty fair. But man, I'll tell you, we're going to start replaying some of those for you guys. So just to refresh your memories about like what actually happened. Not so much for like this stuff. Like this one for Shane was about like the marketing stuff, and you know, I can't get into that. Same with like Shane and Rob and like those guys. That to me is a different piece of it, right? But at least for the people who are awarding, the 3 people who were charged with the awarding, the only 3 people who were in that panel, it was Will Castro, the former Secretary of Finance, Dave Attilig, and Jess Tysagui. Those were the 3 people who were making the decisions. And they didn't really keep a regular record of everything. And they didn't say who voted which way or anything. It either went there or it didn't. Why did it stop at Shane only and not the rest? That's a good question. I think, so if I were to hazard a guess, Peeling, I think what they were trying to do, don't know, is that they were trying to work their way up the mountain to get to the bigger fish, right? And like to build a case for it. But everybody was giving them the same thing, answering the same way. We're not telling you anything based on the Fifth Amendment. That's it. So I am not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer. But the regular common sense, watching from the outside guy, when you see them, when people don't answer those questions, like their attorneys told them straight up, don't answer anything. Right? Don't answer anything. So, and I think that's why it stopped, because they want to take these parts to court to get a ruling from the courts to say, hey, we're only asking people about their backgrounds or to confirm their birth dates or something like that. And how is that, self-incriminating? So I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know what the answers are, but maybe that's why they're not doing it. But again, part of this, though, I'll tell you, it's part of this process that bothers me is like going after the small people and trying to make a big deal about them. And I think it takes the focus away from what they really want to do and put the spotlight where they think it really needs to go. Why don't you just go after those guys? And it's frustrating to me, like watching those hearings about the travel for the governor before. You're beating up on police officers who are part of their security detail by drilling down hard, like, well, what is a first-class ticket, and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, you're asking the wrong people. Ask United. If they flew on United, you ask them to explain that ticket. Instead, you get these BS answers from these police officers who are telling the truth, by the way, by saying that they're not experts to say what's first class and what's not. But also, they know what a first class ticket is, but they're not supposed to be the experts or something like that. But if you're traveling with somebody who's riding in first class, just say they're traveling in first class. Yeah. And I wasn't in first class because they're the gov. But I could see them the whole time, so I was able to do my protective duty and all that stuff. Okay, fine. They're flying with their PSDs. I don't think that's a problem either. But you couldn't get them to give you a clear answer because you're beating up on them. You're giving them a hard time. These are just officers doing their job. They're not the ones pulling the strings and they're not setting policy. They're just doing their job. You're getting the lowest hanging fruit right there. And why are you beating those guys up and making them defensive? Just talk with them just straight. Say, all right, here's the deal. Do you know what this is? Do you know where they work? And can you confirm that this was it? What kind of records do you keep? Ask them about the procedure for all that kind of stuff too. Man, and then that's a longer thing too, because they beat up on people for carrying bags for like the gov and his wife. I'm like, that's not even is that really a bad thing? They're just trying to be respectful. I have a lot of problems with a lot of that stuff, for sure. But for this one, again, the rule for self-incrimination, how is that going to work on this one? Well, that's not for me to judge, right? Because I'm not the judge. But I think some of those questions, I don't think they're incriminating themselves talking about like what they did, but I don't know. But guys like Rob and Shane weren't the ones doling out the money. They weren't part of that 3-person team. That was those 3 guys that we just talked about, the guys who engineered and executed this blatant favoritive distribution of federal funds. Well, nobody's been guilty. Oh, yeah. Till proven is no. They gave it out to their friends, their business associates, and their families. And that happened. Not everybody. It's not everybody. I'm telling you, it's not everybody. And that stigma shouldn't hit everybody either. But man, there's some really shady stuff that went on there. And not the tinting kind that you can get from Tobot. Like it was really shady, and you're going after the wrong guys. Anyway, for this one, I think they stopped here, appealing to get back to your question. I think they stopped there because they just want to get a deciding line from the courts to say what you can actually. It's going to be a fine line. You know what's actually covered under that self-incrimination. You know, just bold-faced saying I'm not going to answer anything. That's what I think this is all about. And it's a waste of taxpayers' money. I don't know. I don't know that this is. I think that it needs to be, and that depends on what you're talking about too, right? I think this needs to be brought all the way to its conclusion, right? They need to get a real decision on what kind of powers does the legislature really have when it comes to subpoenaing people in there, and then ask them the questions of what are people required to do, and can they just say I plead the fifth for every single question every single time? And what is that rule? Well, I guess there's going to be some precedents involved in all this stuff. I think it's worthwhile, because if we don't continue this, then we're just going to have the same stuff happen all the time, and people are going to get frustrated at what they think is malfeasance and an inability to do anything about it. I think you absolutely have to drill this all the way down and find out what happened. I just wish they were going after people who really had something to do with it. At least people who I think have something to do with it. You know, this for this one here, they probably have more information than I have. I just don't think that those are the guys that need to be demonized in this thing. I think you really got to go to the guys who made it happen. You know, the guys who really went after this and gave that money out to people who were more friendly to them. I mean, close business associates and friends and family got multiple awards. The Secretary of Finance even picked up checks for family members for this stuff, even with incomplete applications. And that's from what I watched on there. I know we're going to show those clips, because not all you guys watch all those things. Then you may have read some things, and maybe the memory's a little fuzzy. That's why it's great to go back and watch this stuff. And I've got them. Again, to his credit, Will Castro, he hung in there and answered those questions when he was in front of the House. So, I mean, while you guys are doing fun stuff, I'm watching a lot of those old videos and rereading those text messages that they commandeered, that they subpoenaed between Will Castro and the Bank of Guam, and then the other folks who were part of the decision-making team for the boost. Hold that person's award. Issue that award. We'll take care of it. Yeah, those text messages were damning. That's where a lot of the stuff's in there. And that's the stuff that I was sitting there watching a couple of years ago. Just like, I can't believe it. Just can't believe it. And then to make it sound like the Bank of Saipan was the administrator, but trying to mischaracterize the Bank of Saipan's role in the whole thing as like they really were that's how you know that we're okay, because it's the Bank of Saipan that's running it. No, it wasn't the Bank of Saipan running it. They just had the account. And when they were instructed to cut checks, which they did, they did it based on the direction from that 3-person panel. And oftentimes it was just 2 people, because somebody wasn't available, or maybe someone got conflicted out, and they didn't show a vote or anything like that. Yep. But that's an ongoing thing. That's something that they need to see this all the way through. And that part to me isn't political. Now, there might be some petty political motives in there for some of those folks too, probably. I don't like that. But at least this one, people need to know what really happened. And people need to be exposed for the way that they blatantly gave that stuff out and awarded it irresponsibly. I don't know if anyone's going to get convicted of anything, but people need to know the truth. I don't know how much of it was illegal and how much of it was just unethical. But they need to be, that needs to be out there. And I am definitely supporting folks who believe that stuff needs to come to light. Because it's federal money. It's okay. No. That money could have gone all kinds of different places. Think of it was a great program if they did it the way it sounded like they were going to do it. Right? It was just a blatant, we're going to give away as much money as we can before we to help us get some votes. And then after the runoff, they still gave away a butt ton of money because to their friends and associates and family, because they knew that gravy train was done in January. There was a rush to get as much of that money out of there as they could while they still were in charge. It's blatant. Absolutely blatant. People need to hold those feet to the fire. Appealing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we need to hold those folks accountable for that. And you know what? If we are, and that's just based on the facts that were presented. I know there's two sides to every story, right? But this thing was blatant. And it just seems like people were just walking in there with an open bag and walking out with money because they were friends of so-and-so. It didn't exactly happen that way. Oh my gosh, yeah, they could have allocated funds to different departments so the deficit would be lower. Absolutely. They could have, it says people are still waiting for, yeah. But there's all kinds of things they could have done. I mean, look at our power plant. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do all that stuff. Oh, we'll get another grant for that one day. No. Heck yeah. Rods should apply for Boost, would have opened up a car audio store. I mean, the whole idea was Boost. Boost was great. It was. People were telling me, like, Brad, did you apply yet? You need to. Go apply for it. I didn't. But maybe I should have, And who knows what I would have got out of it. I didn't want to just ask for money. Like, I would have liked to have done some stuff for sure. And maybe I would have more cool gear, for sure. But I didn't. And that's not, I didn't have any real high moral ground on that or anything. I just didn't apply for it. I know folks who did, and they got awards, and they got awarded it, and just like they should have. It's fine. But, when you got one person who got awarded like 6 times, you got like people who received multiple like 6-figure awards. And then you got people who didn't get addressed at all. They're like, we didn't turn anybody down. Well, you didn't decline them, but you just never responded to them. You just never made a decision, which is the same thing as a decline. We have all that stuff. Everybody had it. We posted some of it before all the awards. You got to keep going after this. We need to keep investigating this. That part is not a waste of funds. This is an exercise in what it takes to keep our government going and hold people accountable. That stuff has to be done. They need to continue with this thing, and they need to, and especially in the legal thing. What are you allowed to say? What are you not allowed to say when it comes to that stuff? What must you do? You have to at least try to answer questions when you're being called before the legislature. You can't just say, nope, I've been advised by my attorney to say I can't say anything. So, however, for that one, that's a total good defense because whatever happens, they could say it's a advice of counsel, right? Hey, my attorney told me I can't say anything. So I'm invoking this right. All right, that's good. They can say that. And that should protect them from it. Now, that's what the court's going to rule on. So that'll be instruction for all the attorneys out there that says, hey, here's the new rule when it comes to our courts and the legislature with regards to your Fifth Amendment rights. Here's what it covers. It covers them, but you have to at least make that attempt to answer those sides. Sorry, guys. If you're watching on YouTube and you lost us for a little while, that's why. Hopefully it's right back up. All right. The boost was planned by a bunch of baloney Nostradamus. I see it. I hear you, Pilling, for sure. It still burns people up. It still burns me up, for sure, because it was a colossal waste of money. No, it wasn't a waste. It was a theft. They raided the coffers of money that was meant to help people in the CNMI. They used the last little bit of ARPA that we had to give it to their family and friends before they got out of there. And that sucks. And look at what we're all dealing with now. Look at what we've been dealing with for the last couple of years. I mean, look at the governor's office doesn't even have money. They don't even have like a press secretary. Thanks, Scott. The governor's office, it's because they don't have money for all this other stuff, so they're using NMC. Frankie Lipko is the marketing guy at NMC. He's been doing all this stuff. And then he's got his staffers doing all that stuff up there. And it's all under NMC's budget, right? But they're helping out because the governor doesn't have any money up there. And this is part of that. They're trying to be efficient. It's all part of that same thing. You can't sweep this stuff under the carpet. You can't stick your head in a hole and pretend it didn't happen. This is the real deal. And we're still dealing with the fallout from this. And we need to find out what the heck happened. All the way. Find out what we're allowed to do in the courts from the Superior Court. And then I know that's going to get appealed by somebody. And if it goes to Supreme Court, so we're going to do that too. And we're going to find out what the real deal is. Can't sweep it under the carpet. And then you can't, I'll tell you, man, these guys, even if they're not convicted of anything, those 3 guys who ran that boost program, they can't just be welcomed with open arms and like they're respectable with anybody. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like how they could show their face around. I just can't believe, like, they're nice people. They're nice people to talk to. And in some cases, they're our friends and family for sure. They blatantly stole money, raided money from our accounts and gave it to their friends and family after they knew the election was over. The runoff election, they lost it. And there was a rush to get all that, as much money out to their friends and supporters as they could. That happened. That's not even up for debate. That part happened. And so are we just going to be collectively cool with that as a Commonwealth? No. Dude, there's people drilling holes in gas tanks because they don't have money. What they're going to use it for. I mean, that's a whole other topic. But I mean, like, that's what's going on. All these thefts that we see, you saw the stuff at the laundromats. Why? This is part of that fallout, guys. This is part of that fallout. You almost think it's not such a big deal, right? It was only like $17 million for that. But only $17 million right now. That's like 10%. That's more than 10%. I bet that's like 15% of what our annual budget is right now. An extra 15% would be massive. A hospital has a hard time paying for their utilities. So do a whole bunch of different organizations. After the election, too, the CNMI had to give back like 70 leased vehicles, which is probably good. That's why Jotan had like 1 million cars over there by the movie theater that weren't brand new. They were the lease returns, like 70 of them. There's a whole lot of money that went out the door for that program because they saw a loophole and they took it. They did take it. And you know what? you should be pissed because they took it from you. You should absolutely be pissed. Not like get a pitchfork and a torch kind of pissed, but I mean like you should be mad enough to make sure that these folks who are trying their best to pursue this have all your support. And anybody that you hear talking smack about the people who are trying to see the end of this stuff, saying, oh, it's all politics. All right, fine. Because they're in a different party, screw that stuff. The thing is that you got to support the people who want to see this stuff through and do what's right for the Commonwealth. And sometimes that sucks, right? And sometimes it might be someone who's related to you who's on the bad end of the stick on this thing. Yeah. Damn it. This is what the kind of stuff that we got to go through so that we don't have to go through this kind of stuff again. Otherwise, we're going to deal with this crap again after the next typhoon or after the next anything. And we're never going to trust the people that we're that we elect. We're going to be looking over our shoulders, and then we're going to have to be quiet, not to say anything about those guys over and over. And that's it. Man, it is absolutely frustrating, some of that stuff. Give me my money. That's right, Tobot. For real. Yeah, I don't have any hate for any of these guys. I didn't hate them before. I hate what happened, for sure. I don't have any hate in my heart for these guys. We need to support the people who are fighting for our community, the people who are fighting for our government, fighting for the truth, fighting for seeing this stuff through. They're the good guys. They are the good guys in this topic. Is everybody perfect? No. Come on. Don't give everyone a blank check for that stuff. But for this part's really easy. The guys who are trying to find the end of this aren't wasting time. They're not just looking for your vote. They are looking to do this. And you know what? They know that it's easier not to do this stuff and just talk about nice stuff. They do. But when you see enough of it, and you learn enough about this stuff, and you can't live with that crap. I'm telling you, man, that those three guys. Tobot. For real. Now. Anyway, we're doing it together. We're watching this stuff through. Support those guys. I'm not talking about votes. You support them any way you can. I mean, like, I am not making a call for anybody politically. You better vote for this guy, vote for that guy. No. What I'm saying is that in those conversations, when you hear people talking about it, it's just politics. Oh, they're just going after him. Oh, it's just because they're in that part. It is not. They're going for the truth. Could there be other stuff involved? Yeah, probably. But at the heart of it, this is the right fight. This is the right thing for us to be looking into. This is the right thing to keep fresh and to keep digging at because man, it's friggin' massive, dude. Just massive. Where else could that money go? You guys know what's coming for public schools this year, with their money, and they're talking about the, slashing salaries, not having money for stuff. Where are they going to make the cutbacks? Less money, larger classroom sizes, less hours, split schedules. It's all a result of this kind of stuff. Not only, I know there's other stuff involved. That extra money went a long way. Yeah, and no one's perfect. Nobody on either side of this whole thing is perfect. But you gotta support the process of getting to the bottom of where the hell that money went and expose those guys for exactly who they are and what they did. And yeah, you can go out and have beer with those guys. But you shouldn't go into business with those guys. They shouldn't be allowed to be, and if they are, they shouldn't even feel like part of that community anymore. Oh, man. Yeah. And I said this part again. You got to at least, you got to cut your ties with them. And if you're running for office too, you can't be associated with these folks if you're running for office. You can't say that these are the people that stand behind you and you want their support and all that other stuff. Sure, let them vote for you, but let them vote in quiet. They know what they did. You don't want to stand side by side with these people who stole this money from this community. You can't. Even if you're the best person, unless you're going to be working with them to help get that process done. You say, hey, I'm with those guys because they're coming clean. They're going to explain the whole process and everything, and they're willing to face the repercussions of doing that kind of stuff. If you're going to stand with them for that and really be there with them for that, that's pretty baller. And if you're going to be that, say, I'm not a fair weather friend, I'm going to stick with this person no matter what to help them with this and help them with that investigative process to get that stuff out of there, hell yeah, that makes you a stronger leader. But if that's not what's happening, no. I don't want to see these guys at the ribbon cutting of local businesses that they helped use boost money to start when they were one of the people that was awarding those boost funds to their family members. Just garbage, man. Just garbage. Just out and out, blatant. And especially all those that went out after the runoff election. That was it. Oh, holy shit. Scott, that's awesome. Will used to always try to walk out on his tab. Always said, oh, I forgot. Yeah, you forgot to pay for your groceries and just walk out too? Yeah. Wow. For real. It should piss everybody off. Not like, again, not pitchforks and torches piss people off, but like, don't try to stop that conversation when folks are doing the right thing on the legislature or on the Hill. Be supportive of that stuff. I'll tell you what, all that negative stuff that I was just talking about, those guys, if they came back, went in front of an investigative body like the legislature or or in court to say that they did these things, I'd have a hell of a lot more respect for them for doing it. You know, those three guys, man, I'll tell you. And that's it. All right, I know you guys loved all that stuff, right? That's a Friday conversation. We're supposed to have fun, Brad. Pitchforks. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. It's 5 minutes before, or 6 minutes before the top of the hour, and 9 o'clock we're gonna get you your Associated Press update for sure. I've got the sports update that I haven't played for you guys yet at all. And we can get to a lot of stuff. And if you guys have any questions or comments, remember the phone lines are open. We already had that one call with Ray Gibson today, and that was great. That was a lot of fun. And while you're thinking about what to do for this weekend, this long weekend, you can get started the right way today, because today is National Beach Day. That's right, National Beach Day. So go out there and enjoy the sun while you can. They're talking about all the scattered showers and thunderstorms that are going to be out there. And, oh my gosh, do it while you can. Hold on. And to do it while you can, you got to be a little careful about that too, because you should do it while you can. But I'll tell you what, if you do it while you can, you could get, the smooth segue, you could get over-the-counter birth control right now at PHI Pharmacy, the O-Pill Daily Oral Contraceptive. That's right. It's a 1 month supply. It's a one pill every day. and it's $35.77. You don't even need a prescription to do it. You can go down there, buy it over the counter. And you can save yourself some money too if you buy a 3-month supply of this Opill daily oral contraceptive. It is a 3-month supply for $89.48 available at PHI. Again, you don't need to go to the doctor. You don't need to go to a parenthood clinic. You can walk into PHI and get this right there. It saves you from the embarrassing trip to the doctors, which I will tell you, don't be embarrassed. Just go in and you get your appointments for everything you need to. But if you still aren't willing to do that or aren't really warm to that idea yet, go in and get this for you or for your loved one. They've also got a couple other great specials going on. They've got a handheld massager. It's a portable. You can take it anywhere. It's for $15.75. And they also have protein shakes that you could take anywhere with you to make sure that you're either building muscle or maintaining the muscle that you have. It's got 40 grams of protein. It is the MRE. That stands for meal ready to eat. All these military guys know what that stuff is. The milk chocolate flavor is my favorite, and 40 grams of protein, and it's whole food protein. It's not whey, and there's no sugar. That's right, and it's $3 each. You go down there, and if you've got the membership at Laddie-Built, you get a special discount too, because folks who have a membership at Laddie-Built get a discount when they shop at PHI. No joke. All right, speaking of Laddie-Built, they're still looking for you. They've reached out to DPS and put out an all points bulletin looking for you because they want you in their gym. You got to go check it out. They'll give you your first workout for free, but make sure you tell them that you heard about it from us. Go find Derek, Coach D, and see what Laddie-Built can do for you.
Persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a Lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
AP Sports, I'm Dave Ferry. The Nationals were on cruise control Wednesday as 3 of their top young players led a second straight win over the Yankees. Tell me about it, Craig Heist.
Dylan Cruz hit his first career home run leading off the first inning, and Mackenzie Gore gave up 2 runs over 6 innings as the Nationals beat the Yankees 5-2 to take 2 of 3 games in their series. Cruz went 2 for 4 and had an RBI double. The Nationals stole 5 bases on the night, 3 of them by James Wood against starter Carlos Rodon.
They're very athletic. I think they're a solid team, young. They swing the bat. They're athletic. I could have done a better job holding runners there. Gave up some runs on some steals.
Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani carried the Dodgers to a 6-4 win over the Orioles, keeping Baltimore 1 game off the AL East lead. Hernandez put L.A. ahead for good with a 3-run homer in the 3rd inning. Ohtani led off the bottom of the 1st with a homer on his 2nd bobblehead night of the year. He also singled, scored 3 times, and had 2 stolen bases.
Overall, really good night. Started off really well my first at bat. I had the opportunity to tack on more runs, but I couldn't. So that's something I plan to work on.
That's Ohtani through an interpreter. The Dodgers trailed 3-1 before maintaining their 3-game lead over the Diamondbacks in the NL West. The Padres are 4 behind L.A. George Tanner was on hand as the Diamondbacks kept pace with the Dodgers.
Corbin Carroll pounded a grand slam, his 2nd homer of the game, off Edwin Diaz in the 8th inning to lift the Diamondbacks to an 8-5 victory over the Mets. Carroll now has hit 14 round trippers in his last 37 games after a slow start.
The beginning of the year was very much a grind. It felt like I didn't take a breath until, the All-Star break, really. And, from there kind of was able to get my feet under me a little bit and, come out and have a strong second half.
Michael Luongo was on hand as Astros pitcher Spencer Arrighetti flirted with a no-hitter in a 10-0 rout of the Phillies.
Arrighetti allowed just 4 walks while striking out 9 through the first 7 innings before allowing a leadoff infield single to Austin Hayes in the bottom of the 8th.
I could lie and say not at all, but
pretty much after the 6th, pretty aware.
Eric Getty allowed 2 hits. He struck at 11 to pick up the win, his 7th of the season.
I definitely felt some adrenaline in the bigger moments when I created some traffic by walking people, but for the most part, I felt pretty in control.
Houston scored 5 runs in the top of the 4th inning, capped by a 2-run home run by Yordan Alvarez, who also belted solo home runs in the top of the 7th and 8th innings.
The Mariners received home runs from each member of their outfield in a 6-2 win over the Rays. Victor Robles and Julio Rodriguez each hit 2-run shots in the 5th inning, and Randy Arozarena went deep against his former team, something manager Dan Wilson liked to see.
Robles with the homer, Julio with the homer, Arozarena with the homer. I mean, these guys, some big games out there, and they're going to play some great defense out there. It's an exciting outfield to watch.
Winning pitcher Luis Castillo allowed 2 runs over 5 2/3 innings as Seattle stayed 3.5 games behind the AL West leading Astros. The Guardians have regained sole possession of the AL Central lead by rallying to beat the second-place Royals 7-5. Kansas City led 5-2 until Stephen Vogt's team put together a 4-run 7th.
I think it's huge just for us overall. We've talked the last couple of weeks. We haven't looked exactly like ourselves at times, but for our guys to come back in that game, put up that inning, that's us.
Bo Naylor sparked the comeback with a solo homer. Brother Josh Naylor added an RBI single. Then Will Brennan and John Kenzie Noel added run-scoring singles with 2 out. Elsewhere around the majors, Chris Sale picked up his 15th win, and the Braves moved back within 5 games of the NL East lead by completing a 3-game sweep of the Twins, 5-1.
To sweep a team, especially these guys. I mean, these guys are more than likely going to the playoffs. They're a great squad. Especially with where we're going next, going into Philly. It's a good time to have a happy flight.
The Cardinals pulled out a 4-3 win over the Padres on Nolan Arenado's walk-off single in the 9th. The Brewers put together a 5-run 5th to beat the Giants 5-3. The Cubs scored 11 unanswered runs over the final 3 innings to beat the Padres 14-10. It was the Tigers 3-2 over the Angels. The A's outscored the Reds 9-6. The Red Sox were 3-0 winners against the Blue Jays. The Rockies smacked up on the Marlins 8-2. And the Rangers took a pair from the White Sox 3-1 and 4-3. Tennis, and Americans Ben Shelton and Frances Tiafoe will square off in a 3rd-round matchup in Queens. Day 3 is in the books at the U.S. Open, and Graham Agars hailed a cab to Manhattan after seeing all of it.
Tiafoe cruised through to that anticipated clash easily when his opponent withdrew after 2 sets, and Shelton advanced with a straight sets win that included 17 aces. The showdown, a rematch of their New York quarterfinal battle, which Shelton won just last year. The 21-year-old is already thinking about the matchup.
I'm excited. These are the type of matches that I love, that I live for. Being able to do it a little bit earlier in this draw, it still feels the same.
Tiafoe and Shelton headlined another successful day for American hopes with wins for a group of players that included seeded hopes Taylor Fritz, Emma Navarro and Coco Gauff. The defending champion threw despite struggling with her serve early in the match. I'm Graham Agars.
NFL Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin has selected Russell Wilson over Justin Fields as the team's starting quarterback. Wilson would be Pittsburgh's 4th season-opening QB in as many years. And running back Dalvin Cook is part of the Cowboys practice squad after accepting a contract. I'm Dave Ferry, AP Sport.
Just when you thought it was safe to come out of your cell phone, it's chicken time. I know it's getting ridiculous. My wife will especially love that I did this twice. Not really at all. Hey, it's been a great morning with all of you guys so far. We've only got a little bit left. We're in our waning moments. Just want to remind you that over the weekend, if you've got any news tips or... All right. That is craziness. It is hard. I don't know how I do it either. Don't ask, because I don't have the answer. But we are wrapping up. Just a reminder that over the weekend, if you have any other questions or comments or some news tips, you can always send us the old WhatsApp. If you know my personal number, yeah, you can, of course. And if you don't, of course, you got the one for the show. It's 789-2323. That's 670-789-2323. Drop us a line, send us a news tip, send us, if you shoot any video of something that happens, you can WhatsApp it to that number too, and we'll get it on there for you. Again, hey, this show doesn't work without you guys. You guys being a part of it and keeping it going is really important for me. I don't want to do anything else in life. This is it. I want to be a good dad and do other cool stuff and all that. But I mean, like, for a job, for working, doing this with you guys every day and putting together the slides and the little videos is not work for me. This is just what I want to do. And if it's something that you like and you like tuning in for it, then keep watching. Please do it. And keep spreading the word and let people know that this is us. This is what we do out here in CNMI. This is our interactive program. And we'll keep it going. Baseball resumes next week, September 3rd. That's when playoffs are set to resume for the Saipan Baseball League. We can't wait to get back at that, and we hope that you guys will be joining us for that too. So that's Louisa, you and Chuck. That's going to be it. We'll see you guys in a few days. Have a great weekend. It's a long one. Go out and cheer for the folks that are here from Tinian and Rhoda and Saipan playing softball over at Tonco Field. Spend some extra time with your family and your friends. Enjoy this community that we have, because I'll tell you, if this is the only community you've ever known, there's nothing like it outside of here. There's nothing like it outside of here. We are in the best place, and it's because of you. So help keep this place awesome by doing all the good things and supporting our community. All right, love you guys. Thanks for letting me do what I love to do right now. So have a great weekend. I'll send you off with the latest news update from AP Headline News, and then I'm out of here. So listen away, get all the latest from these guys who are keeping us on track so that we don't just pay attention to our community. We can find out what's happening in the U.S. and around the world.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The European Union's top diplomats calling on Ukraine's international backers to lift restrictions on the use of weapons they provide. Josep Borrell telling reporters,
to target the places where Russia is bombing them. Otherwise, this weaponry is useless.
Meantime, Sagar Meghani reports Ukraine has lost one of the F-16 fighter jets donated by Western partners.
The Ukrainian military says the pilot died when an F-16 went down Monday. It was the first reported loss of an F-16 in Ukraine after at least 6 were delivered last month. Kyiv's defense ministry says it's investigating just what happened. The jet went down as Russia launched a major missile and drone barrage on Ukraine, which says F-16 shot down 4 missiles. At the Pentagon,
broadly speaking, combat aviation is incredibly complex.
Spokeswoman Sabrina Singh says the U.S. has trained some Ukrainian pilots on flying the F-16s, but could not give any details about the crash. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The Israeli military says its operation in the occupied West Bank has killed 5 more militants, including a local commander. The Islamic Jihad group confirming the death of Mohammed Jabber, also known as Abu Shuja. The World Health Organization says it's reached an agreement with Israel for limited pauses in fighting in Gaza to allow for polio vaccinations. This after a baby contracted the first confirmed case in the Palestinian territory in 25 years. The Pentagon's confirming an incident at Arlington National Cemetery Monday morning involving Donald Trump's staff. Spokesperson Sabrina Singh.
An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to the rules of the ANC was pushed aside.
The employee not pressing charges. Trump's been campaigning in Michigan today. He's in Wisconsin for a town hall this evening. Vice President Kamala Harris in Georgia sitting for an interview with CNN tonight. This is AP News. The Labor Day weekend travel rush has begun. Julie Walker has a report.
AAA reports travel is up 9% this holiday weekend, and gas prices are down. Spokeswoman Aixa Diaz says if you're on the road for that holiday getaway, expect lots of company.
Thursday and Friday before Labor Day, those afternoon hours are going to be the worst to be on the road.
She says you want to be on the road early, not late. As for air travel, the TSA expecting a record-breaking weekend.
In terms of being able to handle the crowds, going through security, staffing for the airlines, they've been doing a pretty good job this year. And it's because they knew going into it, the demand was so high.
Still, Diaz recommends taking a carry-on as opposed to checked luggage so you can easily adjust for inconveniences. I'm Julie Walker.
And if you're listening to this in the car or at the airport, hope it's going better than expected. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, Marianas.
So many things we gotta discuss. Hafa, Adai, Tirow, Army and greetings. Tirow to Guam, Saipan and Tinian. For all your island news. From a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning Marianas.